Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out. On to the 19. Let's go. I got a few clips here that I want to talk about from Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark after the first practice of training camp as they head into a new season, less than a week away from the first exhibition game, preseason game, whatever you want to call it. And I believe on that note, that they're all going to be televised now, that they've made that switch to televising all of these games somewhere, somehow. But I will get you more information on that in another video, or maybe I'll just post something like that. But I also have, not only do I have Stephanie White post press conference and Caitlin Clark, because they had some interesting things to say, I've got another clip of Stephanie White talking to the team, sort of different clips throughout practice that I thought was really interesting that I want to speak on as well. So let us dive into this first one. She's talking about Caitlin Clark, and there's something really, really interesting that she says that I want to comment on here. So let us take a listen.
You've seen Caitlin play a lot, but what's it been like to just pick her brain? And also to your point about grace and competitiveness, she walks that line probably in a bigger spotlight than most people.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, one of the things that, I knew about her from afar, but just seeing it on a daily basis is the way she works. I mean, we talk about work ethic a lot, but work style is another thing. And she doesn't waste reps. She literally does embody the how you do anything is how you do everything, whether it's a ball handling drill or a shooting drill or setting screens. I mean, she approaches it with such a discipline that she doesn't waste time, and I appreciate that. And so it's been nice and refreshing being in the gym with her.
You've seen
Doesn't waste time. I love that, the way she talked about that, and that's why I wanted to touch on this, because this is one of those things that separates the great players, the elite athletes from the rest. Right? It's a huge aspect of that mentality that allows them to maximize everything they have. This is Jordan. This is Kobe, right? Okay, I remember a quote from Jordan who would talk about how, working out 9 hours a day or 8 hours a day or whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you're performing the fundamentals of your sport incorrectly. All you're doing is getting good at being bad. It is so much about the quality as well as the quantity. And I think a lot of athletes skip that. And that means it's not just the physical aspect of doing it as either. It is being locked in. It is being locked in mentally on what you are doing. So you do it to the best of your ability. You get it done. It's kind of a riff off of the whole, it used to be practice makes perfect, right? And then it was perfect practice makes perfect. And I think there's even another a version of that as well. And something I would say a lot to my young soccer players about, because I would see this a lot with athletes, especially as they're learning new things. They would work on something until they got it right. And then that was it for that, right? Unless we were focused on it in practice as a team, and what they wouldn't go work on it on their own. It's not practicing until you get it right. It's practicing until you can't get it wrong, and it's doing it so that you minimize the amount of time that you are going to take to get it done. And having that mentality, which Caitlin Clark clearly has, is huge for her, because as crazy as it might sound, it is actually a rare thing that puts her in another level. Believe it or not, many, many athletes are where they are strictly because of their athletic ability, because of their inherent talent, and not because they're doing the right things to maximize that talent. But anyway, I'm going on. I just thought that was a pretty awesome thing. I think we'll do the Caitlin Clark one next, and then I've got something else from Stephanie White as well that I thought was pretty awesome. So let's dig in to what Caitlin Clark had to say after first training camp with this team. Although, yeah, come on, it's Caitlin Clark. She's been in the gym with all of them at some point, even if it wasn't the whole team together.
Everybody knows we have so much talent, but at the same time, you got to put that together. It's not going to be like, all right, you have all these great players, you step out on the court, it's going to work. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure things out, figure out how everybody works with one another. So DB's been tremendous, and obviously, not only as a leader, she's a tremendous basketball player too, and she's won championships. She knows what it is. So when she speaks, everybody listens. So I think that was a piece of the thing we were missing last year. We didn't really have that inside of our locker room. So just really grateful for that. And, you know, just the way she talks and she leads, like, for me as a second-year point guard, like, I want to win for her. Like, this is the end of her career. Like, she deserves it.
So you were talking about alpha personalities on this team. How is everybody kind of finding their spaces and also be a listener better when the time is right?
Yeah, I think that's what makes you a good teammate. And, you know, I don't think anybody's trying to be alpha. Like, everybody's trying to be a good listener and be there for your teammates. It's how do you find the balance of doing both? How do you speak up and be a great leader, but at the same time, how do you listen and how do you get better? And I think it all speaks to, like, the relationships that you have with your teammates. Is like, you got to go out of your way to build those. So when something goes wrong or you have to hold somebody accountable, they know it's coming in the best interest of the team. So I think it just starts with building relationships, getting to know your teammates, but at the same time, we have so much great personality on this team. That's what's going to make it fun. That's what fans are going to love and to watch about us. We're going to have a lot of fun playing basketball, and, you know, you embrace that about your teammates as well. You know,
A little bit of flair, a little bit of personality. I don't care what anybody says. That matters. That makes it more fun. That brings in the fans. The fans love that sort of thing. There is nothing wrong with having some little personality when you're winning. Yeah, you know what? You're going to catch hell if you start losing, but there's nothing wrong with having a little personality. The only thing I would sort of disagree with her on, and I know I'm going to get people who are going to yell at me for this, but men and women are different in this respect. Girls and boys are different. Trust me, I know. I've coached. How you approach them as a coach, maybe not as much as adults, but when they're younger, it's different. And then it's even different within a boy and girl camp in terms of individual personalities. And you got to tailor yourself to that. But there's got to be an alpha, and Caitlin Clark's going to have to be that alpha. Now, it's not a negative thing. You know, this is a little bit, I think, a little bit of that Iowa nice, because I get what she's saying, but a team does need a leader, and it's not always just one. They do different things, and Caitlin Clark will eventually be that person. Because do you think Michael Jordan was not an alpha on that Bulls team? Do you think Kobe Bryant was not an alpha on that Lakers team? They absolutely were. And what she's 100% right about those is so tricky. It's about building those relationships, because there are times when you are going to have to come down hard on a teammate, and they may not like it at that time, but hopefully if you've built a good relationship, they'll be able to take a moment, a step back, take a moment and understand it and understand why you brought it to them that way. And it's going to make the relationship better, and it's going to make the team better as well. And man, we saw a little bit of personality with this team last year, I think, right? Erica Wheeler, to be fair, I'll 100% give her that. But I think you saw Lexi as well when she was spending a lot of time on the bench early, right? I mean, I remember there's one clip of a slow-mo of Caitlin Clark coming down the court, and you could see the team in the background in the corner, and like Lexi was up and cheering before the shot was even gone. But yeah, I think this team is going to be a lot of fun. I think she's right about them. It's going to take a little bit of time to gel, but this is going to be a fun team to watch, and it's going to be even more fun when they give you a little bit of personality. And one thing I would also point out that I love about Caitlin Clark's game is her interaction with the fans, is when she turns to the fans and maybe makes that face or shrugs that shoulder. I'm going to mention him again. It's been a while. I got that a ton with Allen Iverson in Philadelphia. That connection with that fans that you would get during games. A lot of times with Allen, when he make a big play and the fans start cheering, and he would just go to the sideline and he'd cup his ear. And then, the cheers doubled and tripled. The decibels just kept climbing, simple little things like that make it so much more fun for the players and the fans. I don't want to rattle on too long. I'm sorry. I know I get long with some of these, but it's exciting. And so I want to play another clip of Steph saying a few different things, because there's some things in here I thought were pretty interesting that I want to talk about. And then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay, and that starts every single day in what we do right here with each other, for each other. Right, excited about the opportunity we have. Starts right now. Wait till we get the outlet. Wait till we get the outlet, go. But number one priority, we're gonna be shot makers. We gotta give great shooters passes every time. So we can't run like this, but you're running looking for the ball. Good job, great rotation. We gotta attack, we gotta move, we gotta share the ball. You're not conceding getting beat, okay? You're guarding. We gotta be active.
Okay, I know it's halfway through, but I just wanted to comment on that. There's a few other things too, but I'll wait till I finish. But I love that you're not conceding, you're guarding. If you've watched a number of my videos, you've probably heard me mention a few times when I've broken down things like Caitlin Clark getting to the hoop, is I see way too much of that conceding in the WNBA. And maybe that's just slow, maybe they just don't know how to play defense, but you see way too quickly where they get sideways and they just sort of, instead of sliding, they don't slide, just get sideways and they run with you and they get beat. And that's conceding. And I love that. And you know what? I'll comment on the rest of the stuff in the first part now. Again, I love the little things that she's giving things. Like when she talked about not just running, you're also looking for the ball. Little things like that make it's the difference between success and failure. And I think from what I've seen of her so far, like I said, I've got that question mark. We'll see. But I'm liking that she pays attention to little details like that. It's crazy that professional athletes need that. But look, I guess everybody does at times. But little things like that make such a difference. I'll give you just a quick one in soccer where we talk about opening up when you receive a pass, right? If you're on the outside, you open up, you let the ball roll across the body, receive the ball with the foot closer to the sideline because now you're looking towards everything and you can see everything. Whereas if you turn and play it and receive it with your other foot, which a lot of players do because one, they don't know, or two, they're just a little mentally lazy, now your back's to the field and you're in trouble. You got to get turned around and by then it's too late. So little things like that as a coach, I absolutely love to hear this stuff.
We got to be aware and we've got to anticipate at all times. We're not going to be standing here just watching people go to work. All right, we're going to be standing and then we're going to be moving. Our goal is to always be the same, okay, to start. And then we're going to try to just get better as practice goes along. Our goal has to be to carry that stuff over every single day. Carry that. Okay, good energy, good communication. Day one, we stack the days, we come back tomorrow and we have an even better day. All right, we're good now.
I like it. I like what I'm hearing. Paying attention to those little details that make all the difference in the world. And also, I wanted to play this because if you listen to certain things, she's really focused on the mental aspect, and it's definitely become a bigger thing now, but that didn't used to be how important that is to athletes and their performance, that building that mental toughness, building that confidence, giving them tools to be able to handle adversity while they're playing, right? When bad things happen. And, so type of thing I try to drill into my young players and talk about how you learn from mistakes, but also how obstacles are opportunities, right? They don't defeat you, at least not permanently. They're obstacles for you to learn from, for you to get better, for you to come back stronger the next time. But anyway, I wanted to play that because that's the type of stuff that really excites me. For those who don't know, for example, I actually have a published book on the mental performance and confidence part of the game for soccer players. Now, look, you could swap out my soccer stories in that book and put in my basketball stories. It's really just for athletes in general, but it's a huge deal. I really think that's cool. I love listening to those little details from Steph White. Really do appreciate hearing those types of things from her. That gives me a renewed sense of, hey, she could be the one that really does this for this team, because it's a big deal when you're paying attention to those little details. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video as always. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're moving into another season. We got to take this thing to another level. And I will talk to you later.